We don't have.
Hang on a sec. We're going to go live.
Oh, okay.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Saturday. It's February 4th, and we're going to be talking about character flaws again. Welcome to Right on SC.
There are many flaws for us to get through.
This is our behind the scenes. So last week we found a blog that had like 123 flaws on it, and now we're a little bit obsessed with it. And so we're just going to do another episode where we talk about these character flaws.
We're getting some good material out of this stuff, though.
I mean, Charlie enjoyed the show last week, so I think hopefully people are learning a little bit. The key is, what's interesting to me is like, as I'm writing all these characters, so I had my meeting with the developmental editor this week on my vampire novel. I'll talk a little bit about that when we get on the show, but he said, I love your characters. They're so rich and every one of them is different. And I'm like, really? That was not intentional. Like, I didn't give these people flaws. I didn't think it out, map it out. Like I didn't hand these flaws to people. They just sort of emerged for me as I was writing it. And so I'm kind of interested in that conversation too, the difference between planning these kinds of things, really being clear and specific and identifying them versus kind of pantsing it where like these characters just kind of reveal themselves to you and you didn't necessarily know that these flaws were going to be there.
Action builds character. The more you write about a character, the more their personality will come out and become rounded.
So you start seeing those flaws in the way they respond to other characters and the way they respond to the plot itself, to the circumstances they're in.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that. So we didn't set out to go, well, this character is an alcoholic, except that then we noticed every time we wrote him, he had a drink in his hand and he was slurring his words. And then you go,
eating a sandwich.
We're eating a sandwich. He's a sandwich addict. We had no idea. Is this a flaw? So Charlie asked me last night, maybe this is good for our behind the scenes. Charlie asked me last night if being ugly is a flaw.
Yes.
How so? How and why? And
okay, as Freud said, anatomy is destiny.
Ooh.
Okay?
Okay.
If a person's born ugly with a flaw or something like that, that will seriously shape their lives. Look at how many people got into, propelled to fame just because they're pretty.
Well, so he was thinking about like the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yes.
And so as I was thinking through it, I was like trying to remember, like, does that character really have any other flaws? And he doesn't. He's a genuine person. He's a kind person. Like he's a meek person. Like he's not.
Well,
there really aren't any other.
Maybe
the meekness is his flaw. Yeah.
He's ugly, so he can't. So he's been beaten down and spit on and laughed at his entire life.
Yeah. He's just damaged. So anyway,
and he's deaf. Don't forget, because he's ringing the bells, and that has deafened him over the years.
There's a good book called Invisible Monsters by Chuck Palahniuk that I wrote my master's thesis on.
But you did it on Fight Club.
I did on 4 books. It was Fight Club, The Virgin Suicides, Invisible Monsters, and The Hottest State. And in Invisible Monsters, this character is beautiful. She grew up beautiful. She's always been beautiful. She's a model. Like that's all she's really ever had to offer the world. But by the time we meet her at the beginning of this book, she has maimed herself. She shot herself in the face and it took off like half of her cheek and her jaw. And she's just hideous now, right? Like people won't look her in the eye. And that's intentional. Like she has done this on purpose. She didn't kill herself. She just maimed herself in a way that she would not be beautiful anymore. And so it's really interesting because you kind of spend the book trying to figure out, like, did she get what she wanted out of this or does she regret having done it? It's a pretty interesting book. All right, we are doing character flaws. Thank you for supporting the show. We appreciate you. We're going to be live in just a couple of minutes. If there's anything we can do to help promote your work, let us know. The South Carolina Writers Association has programming beginning this month. So check out myscwa.org for the events list. We've got the very first is, I think, the 16th, Thursday the 16th, with an author. I hate that I can't remember her name. She's a Hub City author, though, and she's going to be talking about her debut novel. So anyway, check that out, myscwa.org. Thanks again for supporting the show. We appreciate y'all.